Well, good evening. I'm almost ready. Hello, everyone. All of you super early birds in chat. Welcome. Visionaire, Arcana, one drunk man. He's fully drunk, guys. Welcome, everyone. Static Age, Brody. It's a pleasure to see all of you. Welcome to the pre-stream, as it were. Is Jay not here? No, I'm sorry. Jay's not on today's stream. Mondays are kind of reserved for what I'm calling Mental Health Monday, which involves some semblance of keyboard projects while keeping an open mind and trying to be aware and compassionate of our surrounding world. Tenno, hola, hello, hello. Is that a White Fox shirt? Sort of, yeah, it is. I mean, it's like a Kono shirt. It is like the White Fox logo, yeah.
Ooh,
but
very nice.
Yeah, I found this in my closet. I forgot I had this, so I was like, oh, I'll wear this today. I own a lot of keyboard shirts. Didn't realize the day. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Jay and I had a nice stream on Friday. We talked a little bit about acoustic dampening and you know, whether it's good or bad for a lot of keyboards. It was a very interesting show. I highly suggest checking out the VOD if you guys are interested. Skewed, thank you so much for the 29 months at tier 2, man. 29 months. What a guy. You're far too kind, man. We should have a meditation and mindfulness session. Totally. Yeah, I think what's gonna start kind of happening is, like, the more I do of these, the more episodes of this series that I do, we're gonna kind of delve slowly but surely deeper and deeper into things like you know, mindfulness, maybe some meditation, and some other things, while sticking with the keyboard theme, of course. But yeah, we want to kind of slowly but surely kind of expand our minds to some of the more mental health, more intensive mental health stuff. It's not something I wanted to start like super right away, just because it can be kind of daunting for a lot of people. It can be triggering for others, and you know, if I'm being totally honest, a lot of people just straight up don't understand. So it's like, it's one of those things I didn't want to come out like super hard swinging at right out of the gate, but we're slowly going to be kind of building more and more into it as this series progresses. But you're right, it's not a Dolce shirt. My Dolce shirt, I think, is dirty right now. I wore that the other day. I need to wash that. Yeah, just going through my closet, man. It's whack. It's just like keyboard shirt, keyboard shirt, keyboard shirt, keyboard shirt, keyboard shirt. 3 more keyboard shirts. We could benefit from that for sure. I hope so. Yeah, I definitely hope so. And you know, it certainly won't be for everyone, but if it's for only a handful of people, I'm still okay with that. So we'll wait, I'm gonna wait a little. I started pretty early here, so I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer before I like actually go live. I probably won't go live, quote unquote, officially, until about 4 p.m. Pacific. So we're just chilling. I got some Cafe Suadat. Probably totally butchered that pronunciation, so I'm sorry to any Vietnamese people in chat. But this is a Vietnamese iced milk coffee, which is delightful. This is like quite possibly my favorite way to enjoy coffee. So how are you guys doing today? You guys are all early to this stream, and I appreciate that. I nailed it? Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you. I usually am not very good at pronouncing languages other than English, and let's be real, I'm not even that great at English. Viet coffee is crack. It is. And like, I try to make this at home too. Like, I genuinely try to make this at home, and it never comes out like nearly as good as most of my favorite Vietnamese places in my area. There's just like something very peculiar about it. It must be like that really, really slow, like drip particular method that they use, or a specific type of coffee or condensed milk. I'm not sure. It just never gets quite that good. Visionaire says, got to spend some time at an actual keyboard meetup this weekend. Awesome. Talked with the Heine about the acoustics of the 2-part wait. That's super cool, dude. So Heine was at the meetup as well. Very, very cool. Where was this one? I feel like we're starting to see meetup, like, I don't want to say like full-scale meetups, but like these kind of mini meetups are starting to kind of pop up here and there, at least throughout America. We've been kind of toying with the idea of having like a small Seattle one in the near future as well. So that could be pretty cool. I'm definitely glad that people are kind of being able to attend these meetups. I'm still a little worried about the whole COVID situation, if I'm being honest. I feel like we've gone through a similar step multiple times where we're getting, you know, really close back to quote-unquote normal, which I really hate to say in that sense. But then it feels like we always start to take one step forward, then 2 steps back. So I'm a little worried still about larger gatherings and meetups in general, but you know, hopefully things are on the right track. Columbus, okay, cool. The Beppo van? I'm not sure what that is. That sounds fun. Tenno says, I'm fine, thanks. Typing very slowly on a recently built chalk corn. Oh man, yeah, you're probably a lot faster than I would be, at least. Ohio certainly brings the unique layouts and meme boards for sure. Interesting. Good to know. I think the only meetups I've been to are West Coast meetups. Just the Seattle ones, and I think 3 of the NorCal ones now. definitely want to start going to like more meetups too. You know, once things get a little safer throughout the world, I'd like to attend some more meetups. I'd like to go to like an Ohio one. I know the Ohio ones are pretty cool. I'd like to go to the East Coast, maybe to like a New York meetup. I wouldn't mind going down to Texas as well as Oregon. I'd like to spend a little bit more time in Oregon. Does Idaho have meetups as well? I want an excuse to go back to Boise. I really liked Boise last time I visited. Built a Quark last night, and Ortho has me all frazzled. That's not even meme, but it'll be a fun change. Yeah, dude. I've tried Ortho a few times, and though I can't quite wrap my brain around it, I do think it's pretty awesome. I want to give it more of a try, but I feel like because I swap boards so often, like I'm swapping at least once a week, right? And if I introduce too many new layouts to that, I feel like it's kind of hard for me to go back and forth. I can adapt to things like split backspace, you know, split or unsplit backspace, or right shift, or stepped or unstepped caps lock, or, you know, 6.25 or 7U space. I can adapt to all those like more minor changes, but something like ortholinear, you know, splits, maybe things like the ergo docks, those things are like a lot more drastic, and I feel like once you kind of go down that route, it's harder to swap back to like the more traditional layouts once you've used them for a while. Or at least that's just kind of what it seems like to me. Hey Sean, glad to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. What's good? What's good is it's Monday. It's Monday. We're feeling good. We're keeping our minds open, and we're gonna be doing some keyboard stuff here in just a few moments. That was part of the goal. Try to learn how to move between boards more seamlessly. Oh, for sure, for sure. Hopefully that works for you. It's something I need to spend more time doing, but it's just always so hard because I'm like, I know what I like, and even though if it's not, I'm not like the best at it, like it's still like what I'm comfortable with, and sometimes it's hard stepping out of that comfort zone. Can be, at least. Doing all right. Just unloaded a lot of stress rather on a boxing bag. Very cool, very cool. Back when I used to do martial arts, that was definitely my stress release as well. I kind of miss having like a punching bag. I think I still might own one. I just have no idea where it is. I probably let someone borrow it and then forgot about it. It's been a while since I've like lived at places where I can like hang a punching bag, because a lot of the times I've been in like apartments and such. But yeah, punching bags, really, really cool. It feels great to just kind of flail away on one of those. Mixie says, I've yet to think about going to a meetup. Join the hobby around the time COVID hit. I assume a lot of people are in the same boat. Yeah, our hobby saw a pretty wild influx of people. It certainly started before COVID, but COVID accelerated it pretty quickly, I feel like. You know, a lot of people having to stay indoors, a lot of people starting to work from home, and, you know, because of that, they started putting a little bit more thought into, you know, some of the peripherals they were using for their computers, their PCs and such. And so a lot of people wanted, you know, nicer, fancier, potentially more ergonomic keyboards, which was cool. I mean, it's good for our community. It's a silver lining, I suppose, since obviously COVID, not very good. It's a lot better than a piece of wood. It's true. It's true. All right, what is this? What is this picture? Visionaire. What the heck? Oh, this is the Beppo van? I have never seen this before. This is ridiculous. What the heck is this? This is such a... I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's kind of a meme. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this. Do people like actually type on this like efficiently, or is this more of a meme? Because I've never seen this before. It's certainly fun. It looks like. I'd be curious to know if people actually daily that. What martial arts did you used to do? I did some Hanto Judo, I did some Muay Thai, I did Tang Sudo, and I did a little boxing as well. I kind of dabbled in a couple other things like Tai Chi and Okinawan Karate, but like not very far. Beppo uses it. It was a meme, but he can use it. That's fair. That's fair. I guess the layout always has to start somewhere, right? Someone wants to use it. Okay, but it's more of a meme. Okay. Wait till you see the base kit keyboard. It is a PCB that supports the base. I've seen the base kit. The base kit is freaking nuts, man. The base kit keyboard is freaking nuts. It's definitely a meme as well. Let's be real. But like, I think memes like that are pretty cool, honestly. Master says I did Tang Sudo as well. Went up to first degree black belt. Nice, very cool. It's been so long since I've practiced martial arts, though. My gosh, I'm so out of practice and even more out of shape. It's been over a decade since I've like actually practiced and studied. I'd like to get back into it, but man, the older I get, like, just the harder it is on my body, and it's rough, man. It's rough. Maybe there'll be one at a Seattle meetup one day. I'd like to see that, yeah. You're a normie among these people with your 60%? Oh, that's funny. What is this? The one row? Okay. Okay. No one, even the designer doesn't use that, right? Like, you don't actually type on that. That's gotta be a meme. It looks really cool though. That looks super cool. All right. Well, now that it's past 4, I think I can slowly start, working on our project here today. Before we actually get started, though, I do wanna say a couple things. First being, just thank you guys so much for being you, for coming and hanging out. I really do appreciate it. I know there's tons of other streamers out there to watch. Most of them, well, a lot of them even, a lot more interesting, a lot more energetic. A lot higher quality audio video content. There's just a lot of great streams out there, so the fact that you're here makes me feel good. So thank you so much. Next, I do want to talk about last week's build. So I like to kind of do a little quick review on what we did last week and kind of our thoughts initially versus our thoughts now. And this was last week's project. This is the RamaWorks Kara. This is not the Sequence 2. This is a Sequence 1 Kara. Not that there's like a whole lot of difference as far as I'm aware. But yeah, so Sequence 1 Kara. This is the Azure colorway. And we have some DCS Nightfall on here. We have some Okamochi tactile switches. They're the full nylon kind of T1 variant that we lubed up and we put in there. We also taped it. So this was kind of our first major foray into taping a PCB. Last week we did what I'm going to effectively call one layer of kind of masking tape. This kind of painter's masking tape, 3M, which is kind of just like a paper tape in a way. So we tried that. That was our first foray into taping, and then in the following Top Clack episode that week on Friday, we talked a little bit about it as well, about kind of just what taping is, why you might want to do it, and if it's kind of good or bad, not just for the community, but also for like boards and board designers. And we kind of went, in the overall perspective of it in the episode, and it was pretty cool. So we talked a lot about that, and yeah, so initial thoughts were pretty good. Honestly, I think this board in particular came out pretty well. I am very happy with the switch choice. I'm very happy with the cap choice. And I'm very happy that this was the first board that we tried taping, because I think we got a pretty good benefit from it. I'm still not 100% sold on taping. We still need to try it several more times with different tapes, different keyboards, and different amounts of layers. And we'll kind of work towards getting more experience with the tape mod as we go along. So I know it's something that's super popular right now, really hype. A lot of streamers are doing it, a lot of content creators, a lot of builders are doing it. And I think it came out pretty well. I think it often, at least it seems like it'll often be a better choice than something like foam, which makes me feel better because I've never really been sold on the whole foam thing personally. So definitely happy we have some kind of like an alternative, but it's still relatively similar. I don't think it's going to be good on all boards. I definitely don't think it should be used on all boards, but I do think there are some scenarios where tape can be a pretty big benefit. One of the space bars gives you the QWERTY row, the other oh no, the other one gives you the ZX0. Oh, that can't be easy to type on though, right? That can't be easy to learn. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It's a cool project, though. It's a cool project. Tenno says he'd rather be here. Oh, fantastic, man. I appreciate that. Look, there's a lot of fantastic streamers out there, and, you know, a lot of them are quite a bit better than me in some way or multiple ways. So, I definitely appreciate all of you guys showing up here. First time chatter, T-Tar, hello to you as well. Why is my lighting all wonky right now? Give me a sec. I'm going to adjust the brightness just a little bit here. Hopefully make this a little bit brighter. Okay, that's a bit better. I feel like my brightness just took like a tank. This is why we do this stuff before we get started. I'm just checking the color a little bit. Okay. That's looking pretty good. So yeah, there was the kind of quick wrap-up of last week's project. Overall, I'm pretty freaking happy with how the card came out. I think it sounds very, very nice, very unique. I think it feels very good, and overall, very happy with this board. This will kind of be a pit up against some other entry-level boards in the near future, as we kind of take a lot of notes about a lot of the entry-level boards and kind of pin them against each other. That's going to be a pretty fun stream as well. I still have a few boards to collect before I can do that, though. I don't know what to think of all these mods right now. Way too many, and I can't imagine that all of them do a lot. I mean, I think most modifications that we've done in the hobby do something. It's just a matter of, like, to what extent, right? Like, how much does it actually do? The tape, I'm going to be honest, the tape did more than I was expecting it to do, and I only pretty much used one layer. A lot of people are saying to use 2 layers, 3 layers, even 4 layers of tape. So, you know, we've only used the 1 layer, but I still think it made a pretty impactful difference, and although it kind of dulls the sound a little bit, removes some of that character, it definitely gives you, like, a more focused sound that's a little bit thockier, so it's a give and take, right? Just like foam is. This is just a little different. It's something I think you should definitely try, though, if you haven't before. And I feel like that's true for most things in the hobby. Not just, like, products, but modifications as well. Like, the more you try, the better off you are in the hobby, right? Like, knowledge and experience are crucial to this hobby, and it really does translate to I think knowing what you like a lot better, as well as just having better points of reference, which is really important to me. Bonjour, Pio. What's up, man? How you doing? We got a fun build today. So yeah, that's the car that we did last week. Overall, pretty darn happy with how that came out. But let's focus a little bit more on this week's project, which is a keyboard that I feel like is pretty overlooked. Some of you in chat have probably never even heard of or seen one of these before. This is the Klippe-S, a keyboard that you, again, like I said, probably haven't really seen or heard too much about before. Usually when you hear the term Klippe, it's referring to the Klippe-T, which is a tray mount case. In fact, I have one. Let me grab mine because I have one of those as well somewhere. Yes, here we go. So this is probably more what you think of when you think of the Klippe, which is a relatively simple tray mount case that comes in at a pretty affordable price, but it's definitely nicer, has a good finish. There are not really any issues, has some good color options. It's nice and hefty as far as non-weighted tray mount cases go. And it's just overall a really kind of simple and awesome product. I mean, it's nothing crazy special, but it does what it does well, and it does it at a pretty fairly reasonable price. And yeah, so that's the Klippe-T, which you kind of know and probably love, and a lot of people have those. There's tons of these out in the wild. The runs on Mechanis tend to do pretty well. And that's what the Klippe-T is. But the Klippe-S is a little bit different. So the Klippe-S is actually this kind of interesting mounting style multi-piece design, where it has this kind of, this top ring cover, I'm going to call it. Today's unit here that we're doing is going to have a polycarbonate plate. Good stuff there, we like that. It is a universal polycarbonate plate, so it supports lots of layouts. That's kind of good and bad. And generally speaking, I don't like universal plates. I think they just don't sound as good as fixed plates. That's like not even subjective, that's kind of just an objective thing. However, they can still be pretty good. I don't know if this board actually ever had an option for a fixed plate. I don't think it did. I think it just had a couple different materials, but it was kind of the same layout regardless. I've definitely seen worse universal plates, I'll be totally honest, but still, this one is a bit universal, so hopefully we can still get a pretty decent sound here. We're going to be using a WT60D PCB. This is one of the Mechanis ones, the Wilba collaboration. It's got all the good stuff, has QMK VIA compatibility, USB-C, we have flex cuts, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. It supports enough layouts without going too over the top, which is something I'm a big fan of, because I don't really like the super Swiss cheesy PCBs that support tons and tons of layouts. I think these are just kind of superior. So that's what we're going with today. And this keyboard also has a bit of an interesting feature in which it has a carbon fiber spacer that goes under the plate. So this is the bottom case here. This is where the carbon fiber spacer kind of gets inlaid, and then we have a bit of a badge / weight that you can see on the inside here. This is unit number 22, little designed in Norway badge, Klippe-S mechanical keyboard, good stuff. And that on the other side translates to the weight. So this is kind of the light's not catching it quite right, but this is a very shiny, I think it's PVD brass weight, if I had to guess. I could be totally wrong on that, don't quote me on that. This could be steel, actually. But kind of a very small minimum weight. Doesn't add a ton of weight, but it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I think it's one of the more understated designs in the community, and I happen to be a pretty big fan. So anyways, this is the carbon fiber spacer. It only has 4 holes for screws right here on the edge. So while the top of the case and the bottom of the case do mount together with these 6 screws around the edge, the plate itself actually bypasses that. It only has mounting points on the 4 corners. So basically the way this works is the carbon fiber spacer sits right there, right underneath the plate, but above the bottom of the case. And then the in this case, polycarbonate plate, go ahead and rests right on top of this, rather, and it screws in on each of the corners. So you do get, it does have some support kind of along the edge, just based on the bottom ledge of the keyboard, as well as the carbon fiber spacer. So it has some kind of support on all of the edges. But it still has a decent amount of flex in the center as well. Especially since we'll be using this PCB, which does have the dual flex cuts in it. So, shouldn't be like the most flexy keyboard in the world, but it should be relatively kind of soft and flexy. Brez is saying that Novel Keys has some NK65 on clearance right now. Do they? Do they have the entry edition one? Because I'm not looking for the aluminum one. I have one of those already. I'm looking for... I actually have an entry edition one, but it has some... it's a little scuffed. So I kind of want to get like a newer, nicer, like cleaner one. So if they have entry editions, I'm definitely a little interested. But I'm not really sure if they do. I feel like those would probably sell out pretty quick. I'm just gonna check to see if they have entry edition ones. Okay, I'm not seeing any of the entry edition ones in stock. They definitely have some aluminum ones in stock, which is cool, but... They have the RFP, yeah. I don't really want one of those, though. I just want, like, a basic entry edition in, like... I don't even know what colorway. The smoke's kind of cool. The fire's pretty cool. Probably the purple. I like the N65 purple. I like how they call it the N65 too, to kind of skirt that it's probably supposed to mimic the N64. That's actually really cute. I never noticed that before. So yeah, I don't want one of like the fancier ones that's like more expensive or comes with like more stuff. I just want the basic $95 NK65 entry edition in one of like maybe 3 colors. So that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. I still need to find a KBD 6.7 Lite as well. That'll kind of be going up against a lot of these other boards as well. Fiber Lady, hello, first time chatter. Glad to have you. Is asking, hi, what kind of keyboard is this? Could do with one. This particular one that we're building today, that the parts are laid out here for, is the Mechanisk Klippe-S. You can use the build command and it'll tell you a little bit more about the parts that we're using. But yeah, Klippe-S should be pretty cool. Relatively understated and unknown board. It only ran once, I believe. So there's not a ton of these in the wild. I don't think it sold like a ton of units. This is definitely a couple years old now. I think it ran in 2019, but I could be wrong. Might have been, maybe it was 2018. Bottom mount then? You could call it a bottom mount. Yeah. I certainly wouldn't argue that. In my experience, bottom mounts, a lot of bottom mount boards tend to have like a lot more mounting points and it's laid out like a little differently, but this does technically screw into the bottom. So take that as you will. Alright guys, so yeah. This should be pretty cool. I'm doing a couple firsts for myself today. I've used tons and tons and tons of Gateron switches throughout my keyboard career. However, at least to my knowledge, I've never used any of the full nylon KS3 Gaterons. So this is kind of new to me. These are the all opaque black housing nylon Gaterons. Yellow stems. We are using the stock yellow springs because they're kind of iconic in the community. They're good. I like them, and I did lube them. GPL 105 oil on the springs. And for the rest of the switch, we used Carbon GS2 from Kinetic Labs. This is my first time using the Carbon GS2 lube on anything. So today we'll hopefully have some thoughts about how we feel about the Carbon GS2 lube as well as the full nylon Gaterons. I believe I got these particular ones at Cannon Keys, but I think they're available a few different stores. Typing on KS3 right now. Very nice for the price. Awesome. Yeah, I have no doubt they're good. I think Gateron has a pretty good legacy already in our community for, you know, doing a lot of switches that are, you know, that range between average and great. And pretty much all of them tend to be priced very well for the most part. Yeah, anyone else in chat have tried the full nylon Gaterons? How do you feel about them? Definitely let me know. Since this is kind of a rebuild, I desoldered this earlier today. It had some Novel Key Silk switches in there. when we put this together last time on stream, which was I don't even remember how many months ago. But we have some ultramarine stabilizers in here already, V1s. I just reused these from the previous build because honestly they felt and sounded totally fine. Spacebar needed like a tiny bit of updating on the left side, but I tested them for the stream and we're good. So I figured I'd just leave those on because there's not really any reason to swap them to different stabilizers, in my opinion. Sean DePaulze says, lubing Gateron Cap Yellow V2s right now. Super excited to try them. Full nylon gats are surprisingly very smooth for the money. They are. I didn't even break these in. I mean, and after lubing, they're like outrageously smooth. So definitely happy about that. And hopefully the full nylon housing will give us kind of a bit of a cleaner, deeper, rounder sound compared to some of the other Gateron variants, which to me, not that they sound bad, but they can sound just a little plasticky, a little cheap in some configurations. But Cap Yellow V2s, I haven't tried those yet. That sounds pretty interesting. I haven't tried the Cap series at all. So definitely interested in trying those out. So we'll go ahead and start putting some switches in. And that's kind of where we'll get started since we're already done with the stabilizers. They're already lubed. Switches, again, already lubed. So we can just go ahead and get right into this. Let me know how loud the music is, by the way, guys. If it's too quiet or too loud, please let me know, because it's kind of hard for me to test on this end. So definitely please just let me know how that is as I finish my lovely iced milk coffee. And brush off the copious amounts of beard hair that tend to just gravitate to my desk. Alright, so polycarbonate plates can be a little difficult to work with just because of how flexy they are. I'm not sure how tight these switches are going to be in both the plate and the PCB, so I'm going to put in a couple kind of anchor switches first. Caps have pre-lube. Surprisingly good, like a JWK switch. Oh, okay, interesting. You know, it's interesting to me that we're seeing so many pre-lubed switches on the market these days because, you know, for years, switches have come with some amount of lube for the most part. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them come with some semblance of lube, right? Even if it's just a very tiny amount on the actuation legs. But it's interesting now we're seeing so many switches now hit the market, especially from JWK and now, you know, from Gateron as well, that are just kind of fully lubed from the factory, which is pretty awesome to see. I freaking love that. I think most of them don't do it to a very good extent. I think most of them tend to come out relatively average or maybe a little above average at best. But, I mean, it's a big step, right? I think that's one thing that the community's sort of always been missing is a switch that you can just buy, not open or do anything to, and have it be like, this is good. Because we have very few of those switches. So I'm very happy to see that we're starting to see a few more of those hit the market. Okay, so it looks like the switches go into the plate rather easily here, which is good. They are a little tight into the PCB, so maybe some thick PCB mount legs here on these switches. But yeah, you can't really knock Gateron for the price, man. Very inexpensive switch. They still feel good. They sound good. They're available all over. They're so accessible. It's not a surprise that they're kind of the go-to for a lot of the community. So yeah, now that we're underway, everyone, welcome to Mental Health Monday, another installment. a series that doesn't shy away from sensitive mental health topics. Not that we've talked about a ton of them yet. But we take a very kind of unbiased and open-minded approach to not only keyboards, but life itself and the people involved in it. So please, please, please feel welcome here, feel safe here, and if you have any kind of problems, keyboards or otherwise, hopefully myself and or Twitch chat can help out. At the very least, this is hopefully just a safe haven for any of you that just want to kind of chill and vibe and, you know, see some hopefully pretty cool keyboard stuff and just kind of have a place to be, have a place to belong, because not everyone has that. And for a lot of people, it can be difficult to find as well. But in that sense, quick mental health check, everyone. How's everyone doing today? I'll go first, of course. So I've honestly, I've been a little up and down lately. I've had some good days and some bad days. Some days where I've been very, very stressed lately and kind of exhausted, both mentally and physically. So it's been up and down. Today is a good day. I always look forward to Mondays because I actually don't have to work on Mondays, which is awesome. So it's kind of like my day off, and I get to chill with you guys. So that's fantastic as well. Yeah, a little up and down. I've been a little stressed, which is going to happen in life from time to time, no matter how much you want to try to avoid it. But life is just crazy, right? I worry about so many things in life. You know, my future, the future of the world, I guess. Politics. I spend too much time thinking about politics. Something I try not to do, but it's very difficult not to, and I often wonder how a lot of our systems and infrastructure have gotten to the point of where they are now. And I often wonder if all these things we have in place are for the best from a human race perspective. So that's something I often worry about. What job lets you have off on a Monday? I work at a casino. I deal cards. You know, like blackjack, poker, that kind of stuff. I've been doing that for a lot of my adult life, actually. I've been there a very long time. And while I don't think it's a bad place to work, it's an industry that has run its course for me, I guess you could say. It's something I'm just not really interested in anymore. And I'd very much like to find a new job, which is something I'm kind of working on right now. As well as potentially, you know, moving in the near future too. So a lot going on in my life. Hopefully changes for the better though, right? That's what we can hope for. Hit on a 13. Despite actually dealing all these table games, I don't like to gamble. I gambled a little bit when I first started, when I was like a lot younger, and I was like, you know, 18, 19, 20. I did gamble a lot more. Not very successfully. In poker, I actually saw a lot of success, a fair amount of success at least. But in like pit games that I deal, like blackjack and pie gown, all that kind of stuff, a lot less luck. And I'm not a fan of it. I haven't like really gambled in a very long time, despite actually working in a casino. I'm learning stuff so I can get a new job too. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to do. Yeah, I need to find like some skills, learn some skills. I'd like a job where I can work from home. I think that'll be a lot less stressful on me, a lot better for my mental overall. Tenno is asking if I have any plans on going full-time top clack. I think in a perfect world, I would say yes. I would love to do top clack full-time. The reality is, it'll be difficult for me to get that going just because, like, I do have so much other stuff I need to do outside of top clack. If I didn't have another job, like, in top clack, I mean, this isn't really, like, a surprise or anything, but, like, top clack doesn't make that much money. Like, very small-time streamer, let's be real. So, you know, it'd be awesome to go full-time top clack, and it's something that potentially could have happened at one point. Back when we actually had the, you know, we had the consistency, we had the content that a lot of people were after. You know, top clack used to be a lot bigger. There's no surprise there. It's not something I'm trying to hide. Any of you that have been around for a while, you've probably noticed the top clack numbers drop a lot in the last year or so, and that's because of a couple reasons, actually, which I have no problem going into. But because, you know, because we've seen that drop in viewership, it's just that much harder to, like, push into a realm where top clack can be considered, like, you know, a job on any level. Part of me would love to go full-time top clack, and part of me worries that if I did, I wouldn't enjoy what I do as much. I think pretty much everyone goes through that. You know, when your passions and hobbies start to turn into jobs or careers, I think it can be a very good thing, and I think it can work for some people. But I think it can definitely take its toll as well, and I worry a little bit. It's something that I think, given the option, I would try it. But, you know, it has to reach, like, a certain level first. There has to be X amount of income to where you can be like, okay, like, I can try this now, and I don't have to worry, like, too much about it. Right now, that is not the case. If I, you know, quit my job and tried to go full-time top clack, it would be a struggle at best. So it's something I would love to do. I really would love to do it, but, you know, it's tough because I really need, like, new equipment. Like, I could do with a better camera, better lighting, just a better area in general. I need to get better at how I do things because I'm not very good at AV stuff in general. I definitely need a new mic. Probably, like, you know, something a little bit fancier, something XLR versus just the USB one that I use now. I would need better gear. I would need, you know, there'd be a definite learning curve on how to use a lot of the stuff better. You know, that's something that a lot of other content creators, even in our community, already kind of have and know. Like, a lot of people with AV backgrounds, a lot of people with, you know, very nicer, higher end equipment that's super expensive. Because they often come from these backgrounds in general. So it's a little harder for me. I don't want to say that's an excuse, because obviously, like, in theory, I can learn all this stuff, right? But it's difficult, right? But that's probably true for everyone. So I don't want to make it sound like it's just a me thing. But at the end of the day, I'd love to do top clack full time, but we just don't have the viewership. It just isn't a thing anymore, you know. Because the two big reasons why top clack is not as big as it used to be. First and foremost is the big format change that we underwent in June of last year, June of 2020, July of 2020, somewhere around then. When we decided to stop doing the news altogether. You know, Top Clack was we were legitimately known as, like, the news show. Nobody else was doing it. We were kind of the first ones to do that particular kind of brand of thing. It was showing success, and, you know, our numbers were growing, but our mentalities were not growing. We were lessening a little bit. It became something that we were doing because others expected us to do it, and they felt that we needed to do it. Like, it was like our job practically, because we had been doing it for so long. But the reality is we just didn't really enjoy it as much as we did at one point. You know, because of how large the community was growing, it was becoming increasingly difficult and time-consuming to quote unquote know everything, to have all the answers, to, you know, have all the information about all these products coming out, all these interest checks and group buys. And it required a lot of time. Time that I didn't often have. And, you know, because of that, and Jay felt similarly too, like, it became a show that it felt like it was just kind of running its course. And, you know, we were doing it, but we weren't necessarily happy about it. It was kind of just more like okay, here we go, we're doing the news again. You know, here's 13 interest checks for GMK that are probably not going to make it, and here's another 20 that probably will make it. Here's another gasket mount 65 keyboard that you might like. It comes in a couple cool colors. You know, it's awesome that we have so much in the community. Like, it really is. But, like, so little of it is actually, like, innovative. So, you know, because of that, it's like, it became less interesting and less fun to do. And, you know, what's funny is, like, Top Clack, if you date back to 2016, 2017, you know, when Top Clack was a little newer and we were just kind of getting started in 2016, you know, the news wasn't actually what we did. The news kind of became something that we did, and people liked the way that we do it, because, again, no one else was really doing it at the time, in that sense, at least. So we were like, okay, we'll give this a try, and it was fun for a little while. But originally, Top Clack was just like a little freeform podcast where we often had guests on, and we just talked about keyboard stuff, whether it was like a product or, you know, some drama or whatever, or, you know, these people or that people, or backgrounds, experiences. There was a lot to talk about, but, you know, we eventually kind of just settled full circle on the news, and that went really well. It honestly really well for a while, and then until it didn't. And then we knew we needed a change, and so we just... It was hard, because I knew for a fact, I knew that if we made a change like that to the ones that we wanted to start doing, we were going to lose viewership. I was expecting at least 50% of our viewership just to leave. Just because so many people were there, just not for, like, us as streamers, but just because they wanted a place where they could, you know, hear about the things coming out and, like, hear some thoughts from experienced enthusiasts about these products. And I think that's totally fine, right? Watch streamers for whatever your reason is. There's nothing wrong with that. But I knew, because we decided to make a change into, like, more of a freeform podcast, a la, like, vintage Top Clack, where we kind of just do what we want. And sometimes that's talking about, you know, a very controversial topic. Sometimes it's having a guest on and talking to them. And sometimes it's we play a game. Sometimes it's this or that. It's like, it's a very kind of, like, almost random and spontaneous thing. But for us, it's monumentally less stressful. And because of that, you know, it helps us out a lot. But, you know, it's also, for a lot of people, not as fun to watch, because the people that watch us for us probably still get some benefit out of it, but the people that watched us for the news, you know, didn't. So that's kind of how that went. So, but, you know, we had to do it. We couldn't. I think if you don't enjoy, if you're a streamer, right? If you're a content creator in general, and you don't enjoy, like, every aspect of what you do, you might need to change something. You might no longer be doing this for you, and you're doing it for someone else, for other people, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I feel like mentally, this is something that you have to do for yourself. And you just kind of hope that people like you and your personality enough to watch you, right? I think that's, like, kind of the backbone of it. And I'm not saying there probably are content creators out there that maybe are a little burnt out, or maybe just don't want to do, you know, specific content anymore, but they almost feel like they have to, because, like, the community expects that of them. So that was, like, the first major reason why I think Top Clack kind of took a step back viewership-wise, even though we kind of took a step forward mentally. So it was a give and take there. But barring that, it was definitely my, again, full transparency here, guys, as usual. It was my mental issues that really took it played a big role in reducing the overall viewership of Top Clack. I just some days I just couldn't do it. Like I was struggling a lot, and it wasn't like because of Top Clack per se. There was a lot of things in my life going on that was just kind of like adding up, and Top Clack just sort of added to it in a way. And you know, because of that, we were, you know, missing episodes here and there. You know, I just wasn't as vibrant, I guess, on stream as I once was. I was mentally not enjoying it as much, even though it was like content that I knew I was happier with. Like, I just mentally, I had depression, right? it was definitely a darker time for me than it is currently. I feel a bit better these days, which is nice. But, you know, back then, I was having a rough go at it. And by it, I mean life. I was having a rough go at life. And Top Clack definitely suffered because of that. And though I'm kind of slowly pushing my way back into things right now, which I'm very happy about, the reality is a lot of people left. A lot of people were like, okay, well, you're not producing consistent content, then I'm out of here. And again, totally fine. I get it. But that's why I'm happy that any and all of you are here right now to kind of give me another chance, as it were. Because I do think I have a lot to offer the community. I've been in the community for many, many, many years. I've seen many, many things. I've built a lot of boards. I've talked about a lot of boards. I have a lot of friends in the hobby, a lot of people I'd consider family, honestly. And I think my experience and my knowledge in the hobby can definitely pay off. So yeah, thank you guys. That was a really long rant. Sorry about that. But yeah, really long rant about kind of what Top Clack has gone through in the last year. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It was a chore. It was a chore. Damn in chat says, we went from 3 to 6 GMK sets a month to like 12 plus a month. Yeah, I remember when there wasn't even one a month. And now there's like 20 running a month. So, you know, the space has definitely changed a lot. For better or worse. It's cool to have options. It's just, I wish... Man, I don't know. Part of me wishes that, like, GMK colors and, like, sets were taken less seriously than they are. I get there's a lot of passion there, and, you know, it's just because I can't wrap my head around how important colors are, I think, is my problem. It's just hard for me to get that passionate about colors. And I think it's probably, I would argue, actually, right now, that the colors of things, particularly key sets, are like up there in the top 2 or 3 most important things in the keyboard community right now. I see so much toxicity and so much hatred and so much drama and argument over just colors. And it's like, wow, I remember some of the things that we used to argue about, and it wasn't that. So, I mean, I get people want accurate colors and stuff, but, you know, I feel like most people don't take into account all the variables that go into the colors in the community. Not everyone has calibrated monitors and this and that. Not everyone has the same eyes. It's a very difficult thing. Dam also says, I think the other profile menus need to open up the process to designers, or we might need vets to document the process working with other menus. Every keycap designer just defaults to GMK. Yeah, I feel like we're stepping away from GMK a bit. We're starting to, right? We're seeing more DCS. We're seeing a lot more Enjoy PBT. We're seeing more CRP. We're seeing more of other things as well. This is exactly what we went through with SA, right? This is what we went through with Signature Plastics several years back. SA was just blowing up as a profile. It was way more popular than GMK, and like everyone wanted to make SA sets. And because of that, the queue got backed up, you know, a year and a half. I think we even approached 2 years. And it got to a point where people were like, all right, I'm not buying SA anymore because I don't want to wait that long. And we're starting to reach that breaking point, I think. This is just my personal opinion. We're starting to reach that point in the hobby where GMK is about to be there too. And GMK just won't be able to keep up with us. One of two things is going to happen. Either the GMK bubble is going to kind of start bursting, and we're going to see a lot of designers start to move away from GMK into other places, just because no one wants to wait, 1 to 2 years for a key set. Most key sets, from the time they're group buy to actually delivered at your doorstep for GMK, are over a year now, right? Several of them are taking closer to a year and a half. And that's just like, well, I don't know if I'm going to like that a year or a year and a half or 2 years from now. I don't know. Personally, I stopped buying GMK sets. I haven't bought a GMK set in months. Not because there haven't been some that I liked, but because I just don't want to wait that long. And I don't know if my tastes are going to be exactly the same, that long. I feel like you're flipping a coin even at 6 to 8 months of a turnaround time, which is considered very good for GMK. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't really watch like that particular stream very often, but I kind of poke around and lurk in some of them. I think some people do an okay job, but maybe not like in the same way that, maybe I'm just being biased, but maybe not in the same way that Top Clack was doing it. One thing I do kind of feel like good about, if I can say that, is like the fact that no one really did that before we stopped doing it. And the fact that like we stopped doing it and everyone started doing it after that made me feel like that like a lot of these content creators, even the ones that were, larger than Top Clack at the time, they kind of respected the fact that like Top Clack was like the people that were doing the news, and like no one else kind of wanted to like branch into there because like they had a little bit of respect or something. And they waited until we stopped doing it to start doing it. And I thought that was kind of really cool. I think there's a lot of fantastic streamers, and I'm very happy to be a part of this community. I don't know why I'm putting this in here. I need to solder this. I've been ranting, and I haven't been building. This should be a pretty quick build. I actually got those switches in a lot faster than I was expecting. I was expecting to have to fight the polycarbonate plate a little bit more, but thankfully we did not. Looks like I got a few switches to spare, so I lubed a few too many. Not a big deal though. I'm gonna move this out of the way and get set up to solder, guys. Good old solder mat. You hate to see it, but you love to use it. Alright. SM Shark says, one thing that you provided as host was a lot of historical keyboard context, but I can 100% see how it would get stale making it a weekly thing. It's amazing that Merlin still keeps it up like that. I think Merlin does a pretty good job of it too, and it shows, right? Ever since he started doing it, his viewership has climbed pretty rapidly, and he pretty easily gets 150 to 200 viewers on those kind of streams, which is great to see. Mech Merlin, longtime friend of mine in Top Clacks. He's local to me, great content creator. Love to see him succeed. But it can get a little stale. I mean, Top Clack was doing it for like years, right? Like we were effectively doing that for like 3 to 4 years every single week. Even on like a lot of holidays we were doing them. Like we were kind of known for our consistency up until I started having mental issues. Like before that, like consistency was our thing. Like we didn't really miss episodes ever. So yeah, it got, I guess it got stale. I was trying to think of a nicer way to say that, but it just did. But hey, other people are doing it, and it seems like it's relatively popular. So, who am I to poke fun at, right? Summer Vicky, hello, says hi. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty well. Today's a good day. Building a keyboard. Nobu says, I'm new to this hobby and find your streams enjoyable. Thanks for sharing. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, man. I know, like I mentioned earlier, I know Top Clack is not the most interesting stream. I'm not the most high energy streamer. I don't have the best audio or video quality. But, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. All I can really do is be myself, and hopefully that's enough. And if it's not, that's totally fine. Camel Leopard says, I don't know, the wait times on GMK now because of all these sets is rough. I know, right? It's savage. It's absolutely savage. Clever Vicky said I was lurking in your stream before. Were you? I appreciate a good lurk. In Twitch context, of course. I like the new content style better. Helps keep my wallet healthier, quote unquote. Fair enough, fair enough. It's just easier on us, right? Because we get to talk about like what we want and not necessarily like what the community expects us to talk about. To me, that's a really big deal. There's just it can be very stressful, and you know, to me, I enter this hobby, you know, to be a stress like release. You know, it's something that it's fun you do in your spare time. Like I don't want to focus on drama. I have enough of that shit in my life outside of keyboards. Why would I want to bring that into keyboards or just find that within keyboards? You know. I like how now that I put this desk mat down, like there's like so much overexposure, oversaturation on the light. That'll go back when I remove the mat. Sorry, you guys. Osiris, love you too, man. Thanks for stopping by. We're about to get soldering. I plugged this in, but I forgot to warm it up. There we go. Please bring more DSA. Oh man, I don't think DSA will ever make a comeback, if I'm being totally honest. Not that I particularly like hate DSA or anything, but I can't see DSA being popular again. I think that DSA has a few too many issues, often orientation issues. They can never really seem to nail that down. I think DSS could grow a little bit, but I'd be really surprised to see DSA, or honestly any uniform profile, like become like ultra popular. I just don't think that's gonna happen. Roly Roly, first time chatter, hello, says great way to think, or great way to go about it rather. Yeah, thank you so much. I normally don't go for GMK extras or pre-orders, says Streaking Bison, but got in on some lately to hopefully get keycaps this year versus 2023. Yeah, I just like don't want to buy GMK right now. I'm totally cool with buying some other stuff, but I can't see myself buying a GMK set anytime soon. As much as I like GMK, because I do like typing on GMK. I have tons of GMK sets, as I'm sure several of you know, but I don't think I need to buy any more right now. And a lot of that has to do with waiting, 1 to 2 years for a set. I'm still waiting on sets that I bought over a year ago. Osiris can never get enough of me. Ooh. I like where you're going with this. Top Clack has its charm, though. Thank you so much, man. You're too kind. Yeah, there's a lot of great streamers around, honestly. The keyboard hobby is lucky to have a lot of the streamers that we do. I find that most people come to Twitch for entertainment, and I like the chill format of Top Clack. We definitely keep it chill. I rarely have the energy to do anything beyond chill. Really excited to see some, or to get some CRP and to try it out. Yeah, CRP is pretty cool. I still think there's some minor issues with round 3, but hopefully round 4 is even better. We actually have a CRP set that we could put on this board today. I had it on the board previously, before I desoldered it. It was some CRP Japanese round 3. But I think I might go with, I got GMK Modern Dolchin the other day. Like, it just arrived recently. So I kind of want to put that on here. So I think, A, it'll go really nice on this board, E-White. But, I also just want to try it out because I got it. But I also have GMK Yugo that I got in a couple weeks ago and still haven't put on a board, so... I don't know, we'll probably do a poll between a couple different sets. Still waiting on my first cat set, says Camel Leopard. I like cat a lot, I really do. I think that Creative has some issues, like with their kind of like queue. Like, it's pretty obvious they're not getting sets out fast enough, but I mean, when the sets do come out, they tend to be pretty good, I would say. Pretty, at least relatively well received. Oh, speaking of cat, we could use a cat set today too. I still have Cat Lich, which came in like, I don't know, a couple months ago, and I still haven't put it on a board. What is wrong with me, guys? What is wrong with me? Big Skid Row with a very interesting question, asking, what does a manufacturer need to do to unseat GMK? Is it material, quality, texture, thickness? Man, that's tough. I think the biggest thing would have to just be like... Oh, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I have a great answer for that question. I think GMK is kind of just like too ingrained in the hobby right now to be like fully unseated. I think if someone were to do it, it has to meet some prerequisites, right? One, it has to be double shot cherry profile, right? Double shot ABS cherry profile. Because there are very few manufacturers that actually do double shot ABS right now, right? And the ones that do it that aren't GMK don't have the level of quality control that GMK has. So I guess the easy answer is quality. Material, I think, is more or less moot. Like, if you're using double shot ABS, I think that's how you compete. Texture, I don't think it's really a texture thing. Thickness, I mean, most nicer aftermarket key sets like GMK, like CRP, Enjoy PBT, JTK, they're going to reach the 1.5 millimeter thickness level anyways. That's just kind of like the norm. So I don't think it's that either. I guess quality, but I think it's just because GMK has been so popular for so long, and at such a high rate in our community that it's kind of hard to unseat, even if like something quote unquote better does come along, right? That's a really great question though, and something that I think we can all think about. Kimchi Jody Boy in chat, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. Says, I heard CRP. Are we simping for our Lord and Savior Hammer? Oh, man. Oh, that's right. They did used to go by Hammer. Shout out to the old days. Are they still... Is it still called Hammerworks? Is it Hammerworks CRP? I don't actually know. R4 spacebar molds are better? Cool. I hope so, yeah. Because that's like, the spacebar is kind of something I have an issue with on my CRP as well. Like, it doesn't even look like warped at all, but it like kind of performs like it's warped a little bit. So like, that, and I had a lot of issues with the row 2. Row 2 round 3 CRP was just falling off my JWK stems. It seemed to work all right on like Cherry and Gateron stems, but on JWK it was just falling off. And I showed that on stream a couple times in the past as well. It was kind of rough. P.O. says, Brian, you're my enabler. You stream when baby's napping, so I build when you build. Nice. I'm always happy when people like do keyboard stuff alongside me, whether that just be building or you know, desoldering or lubing some switches, tuning some things. Always a pleasure. Or if you're just chilling, you know, either one is good. How's the family doing, by the way? Everything all right with the new baby? It's also super warm in my office right now because it's a rather hot day out. So if I start pouring sweat, I apologize in advance. First time chatter, Miko, hello, says, did you see Damaki's double shot ABS or triple shot cherry profile sets? I like the font they used. I have not. Feel free to link that, actually, if you wouldn't mind. I'd love to check that out. You just refer to them as Hammerworks at this point? Totally fair. I mean, I think it is technically Hammerworks, so that makes total sense. P.O. says, all good, he's pretty easy and super cute. A real sweetheart so far. That's great, man. That's great. I always hear, I mean, I don't have any kids, but I always hear that, you know, the kind of newborn stage is often people's favorite just because, they, you know, babies tend to be a little easier to work with at that stage. Is the name Hammer olden days? I mean, it's not that old. But I mean, I feel like the moniker CRP is relatively new, right? Like, just the moniker CRP is new. But Hammerworks has been around for years. Miko's been a lurker for a while. Awesome, thank you. We appreciate lurkers here. I'm going to check out this link as well, as I obviously very slowly solder this keyboard. Okay, I can maybe get behind this. Let's see, how much does it cost for a decent amount of compatibility here? Okay, you can pick up alphas, $36. Mods, $33. That's what, $69? But that's for basic coverage. You need the mods plus for you know, any decent compatibility. That's another $36. So I mean, you're looking at a bit over $100 for what I'd call a reasonable amount of compatibility. Not a great amount of compatibility, but a reasonable amount. It does look all right though. I think I'd like some more renders that aren't the kits. I'd like some more renders like on boards. But it does look kind of good. That really doesn't look bad at all. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'll have to keep my eye on this. We'll pick some of this up and we'll give it a little test on stream, guys. Is this a group buy or is this like readily available? We'll definitely have to check some of this out, guys. We'll definitely have to check this out. Lots of compatibility sets. They have a white on black set as well. Oh, cool. $135 for the all-in-one kit. Oh, was there an all-in-one kit? Am I just... Oh, okay, I'm just blind, apparently. Okay. So wait, the all-in-one has both alphas, right? Am I seeing this right? The all-in-one has both alpha kits, all of the mods, the numpad, all of the accents, and all of the space-bars. It has every kit. Okay, because that's a pretty attractive price for that many caps, I'll be honest. Okay. Is this a group buy or is this in stock? I can't quite tell. Like, can I buy this right now and it'll ship soonish? I feel like there's no like info if this is a group buy or not. Looks like in stock. It looks like in stock, but I've been fooled before. So we'll have to wait and see. Dutch Master, thank you so much for the raid, man. That is so kind of you. Thank you. Welcome all you raiders. I'm soldering very slowly is what I'm doing because we were checking out something linked in chat. I'm gonna have to keep my eye on this this Damaki Cherry profile. Very cool. Double shot ABS too. Could be a good GMK competitor, especially if their Q is you know, pretty reasonable. Big raid. It is a big raid. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that, Dutch Master. Hopefully your stream was well. What did you guys do over there? That's a good price in the all-in-one. That is a good price in the all-in-one. I'm sitting here like a boomer trying to add up each kit. How much is this gonna be? I didn't even realize there was an all-in-one button. Freaking fantastic. Alright, I need to solder some more of these switches. We're not that far from finishing this keyboard. I've just been very slow at soldering. Lube some alpaca switches for your frog TKL Dutch. Oh, very cool, very cool. Like a prep stream. The frog TKL is pretty hype, man. I sadly had to miss out on that, but looking forward to the frog mini. Hopefully, I can get on that one. I'll be waiting. Although I think it's like January of next year, so we still got like 5 months, unfortunately. Quality remains to be seen, but 135 for enough keys to put on 2, maybe 3 boards is a pretty good deal. That is a really good deal. Yeah, I mean, you could outfit, yeah, at least 2 with this all-in-one kit, right? You would just have to have, you know, a couple different layouts, as it were. Not seeing it under the GB tab, so likely in stock. All right, I guess we'll have to pick one of these up and see what we think about it. Ozzy, or I keep saying Ozzy, except now I know that it's like Aussie, so apologies for that. Aussie Obsessions, good morning, hello. What caps are we talking about? We're talking about the ones on KP Republic, the Damaki Double Shot ABS Cherry Profile. We're gonna have to pick some up and test them out on stream, see how we like them. John will still continue to produce frogs. Yes, that's very true, and that's totally cool. That's totally cool. Love seeing that. Yeah, I know they're trying to keep them stocked, like once a month. They're trying to do like a run once a month, I think, which is awesome, right? Because like if you're doing it once a month, like eventually, you should start to see them get like a little bit more accessible, and definitely go for a lower price on the aftermarket if nothing else, right? Another first time chatter. Lots of you today. Thank you guys for showing up. Two Koalas Blue is asking, noob question, given 2 similar PCBs, why would you choose a soldered version over hot swap? I want to preface this by saying, noob questions, totally fine here. We love newcomers here. Whether you're new to the hobby or just new to the stream, welcome. We love to have you. All questions are valid, by the way. This isn't an elitist stream where you get made fun of for stuff like that. So yeah, soldered version over a hot swap. PO actually kind of answers this saying reliability and usually more layouts offered. I will say for sure more layouts offered is pretty good. When you have hot swap, especially if you're using an implementation like the Kale sockets, which a lot of PCBs use these days if they're hot swap, it's a pretty great product, I think, overall, but the drawback there is the fact that you won't always get the layouts that you want, because there needs to be a hot swap socket for each switch position. And so because of that reason, you don't usually see very much compatibility and very few layouts in general when you're talking about hot swap. So yeah, reliability, I'd say maybe. That's a little arguable, I would say. Other reasons you'd choose soldered over hot swap. A lot of people, a lot of enthusiasts in general, tend to just think that soldered PCBs like sound a little bit better, or just are a little bit better for one reason or another. I don't necessarily share that view. I think hot swap PCBs can definitely still be good. But, you know, in a hobby that's very customizable, it's just a very custom hobby in general, people like to kind of solder their own keyboards, I think, because it gives them a better sense of connection with that product. Like, you feel like you built something, right? Like, if you're just pushing switches into a board that's already built, that's like, not that that isn't fine and cool and like totally doable, but it's less like about you. But when you build a board, it's like you're actually putting, you know, your resources into this board, and you know, it's more of like a project versus like you just bought a fully assembled keyboard practically, you know. You know, with that said, I have no problem with hot swap. I own several hot swap boards. Here's one right here in front of me. Kubicek in chat, what's up, man? It says, first time question, are Holy Pandas good? They're fine. They were really cool in 2017, 2018. Now I'd say they're just fine. You know what's better than Holy Pandas? This bangin' remix for the Cosmo Canyon track right here. This is good shit, guys. You'll love to hear it. I need to solder this PCB, holy crap. I keep ranting and forgetting to solder. Clearly I'm not very good at multitasking. Platelets? Nothing wrong with platelets, but it's cool. Platelets is cool too. Platelets. Platelets are also cool. Turns out you need those in your body. Also, the sockets get loose there for contact, and also they can desolder. Yeah. Yeah, I've never really had problems with hot swap sockets. I guess I've been kind of lucky in that regard. You can also do platelets with soldered. Yes, there you go. That's another reason. Doesn't feel as satisfying as soldering. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like a lot of people's view on it, right? It's much more personal if you're soldering a keyboard versus just pushing switches in. Camel Leopard, thank you so much for the 38 months. 38 months? Oh my gosh. That's a long time. Thanks for sticking around for over 3 years, man. That's... You guys are too kind, man. Too kind. Thank you. Trying to speed up this soldering so we can get to the more interesting parts of the build. Final assembly. Keycap decisions. And my personal favorite, typing. I only use hot swap to break in switches before looping. That's a good thing as well. I used to have I mean, I guess I kind of still do, but I used to have another hot swap board that I use specifically for breaking in switches as well. I think there are a lot of really good cases to be made for hot swap. I just don't think it's necessarily for everyone. nor does it need to be. I stepped away for a while to stop buying so much shit, but always loved this stream. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, 30, I mean, you've been in the hobby for a while if you subbed for 38 months. Hopefully you haven't been buying as much shit. Options are always good. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hot swap boards are great because you can try things without having to commit like quite as hard. Like it's obviously like faster, easier, and less resource intensive overall to just put switches into a board and pull them out versus like actually having to solder and desolder. And I mean, most people don't have any kind of like good desoldering setup, so it makes sense. I'm almost done soldering, guys. Then we can remove this mat, and that'll make the colors look better because I did not plan for the colors to shift this much using this mat. So apologies for the awful video quality, guys. Almost there. All right. We are soldered up, Buttercup. I'm gonna unplug my soldering iron. Hopefully I didn't miss one. So I can remove this ugly soldering mat. Now you guys can once again feast your eyes on the loveliness that is the Thockeys, what is this, Cosmo Cat mat, I think is what it's called. Oh, it's getting warm in here, guys. Gotta stretch a little bit. Join me in a bit of a stretch, guys. Also, hydration. Hydration station. Courtesy of our lovely sponsor, Mechanisk. Building a Mechanisk keyboard today. So, you know, have to shout out to our Our boys over at Mechanics, great people over there. Don't forget to hydrate, guys. I have some random soldering gun. Should I try using that to desolder to desolder a keep, or is there any danger to kill the board? I mean, if we're being honest, there's always danger to kill the board, almost regardless of the equipment you're using. A random soldering gun. So, do you mean a desoldering gun, like kind of like this, or is it just like a soldering iron? Because you don't need something like nicer like this to desolder keyboards, right? You can I mean, you can use like something like super cheap like this, like a lot of us used to back in the day. Little desolder thing. I mean, these were only like a couple dollars. I think this was an add-on, like it came with like an old, like my very first soldering iron I bought, I think. But these are only a couple bucks, and you can just use like a soldering iron and you heat it up, and then you use this to suction out. Takes a lot longer and it's a lot more tedious, but does work. And if you have any trouble desoldering that way, you can actually add a little solder back. Like you can re-solder the switch to kind of gather all the solder kind of together in one place once it melts again. So yeah, then you can desolder it like that. It's not too hard, not too bad. All right, well we're all soldered up here. I guess I'll give this a quick test. Oh hey, Keep Noob. Kitties, yes, lovely, lovely kitties. We love kitties here. Totally jelly of all your Klippe-S, man. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky to have a sponsor like Mechanisk. Leandrin over there is genuinely one of the most genuine and nicest people that I've had the pleasure of meeting in this hobby. And I've even met him in person, which was pretty awesome. He really is right up there with like Mike of Novel Keys and the kind of the best people I think are in the hobby. You know, some really legendary enthusiasts and now vendors. A soldering iron with that thingy that snaps. Yeah, like I was showing there. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I mean, that's how a lot of us used to desolder boards before we got you know, more expensive, fancier things like this. All right, let's give this a quick test here. Let's see if I made any mistakes. Alright, we're good. Every key works. I don't know why these are apparently both the same function key, which sounds like something I would do, just because I don't really need a ton of function on my keyboards. Currently using 35 gram switches? That's light. 35 gram bottom out or 35 gram actuation? Either way, that's very light, but 35 gram bottom out is nuts. That's so light. Aussie Obsession's asking if I have a fume extractor that I'd recommend. I don't, actually. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't have a fume extractor I'd recommend. And that's only because I don't own one. And aside from the one that came on my my previous soldering station, the AOU 701A++ or whatever the heck it was, I've never really used one before. I know a lot of people like to just use like PC fans and then just have it like extract or some kind of setup like that. I really should get a fume extractor. It's like actually pretty bad that I don't have one. I just keep forgetting to get one because like they're not even like super expensive either. So that's just me being silly. Hope maybe chat does chat have any recommendations for fume extractors? Definitely feel free to put some in the chat. You guys have any? So let's finally get this keyboard back up here, and I'll give you guys another brief tour like I did in the beginning before we finally put this together. Another first-time chatter, Christoph. Hello. Is that Rama? Or is that a Rama as your main driver? Oh, do you mean this one here, the Kara? This is the RamaWorks Kara Sequence 1 Azure colorway. We put this together last Mental Health Monday. This is a weekly series for any of you that are newer. Always Mondays, 4 p.m. Pacific time. But yeah, this is a Rama. I wouldn't say I have a daily driver because I swap boards every single week, especially because of this series where we pretty much build a keyboard every single week and most of them belong to me. So yeah, I don't really have like a daily driver per se. I've been really liking this board, and if you want to see like more about this and hear the typing tests and a lot of the experimenting we did with tape on this, as well as just the overall assembly and thoughts and such, definitely make sure to check out last week's VOD, which is up on Twitch and YouTube, link below. So you can check out a little bit more on that. But yes, this is a RamaWorks Kara, if that's what you were asking. I use a table fan and a window fan, and that's totally fine, right? I mean, the idea is just to get the fumes, the smoke, away from you somewhere else, right? That's like the whole point. Did I try tape on the Kara? Yes. Yes, we did. Yes, the Kara is taped. You can see it actually through. We used just some blue 3M like painter's tape. You know, not particularly adhesive, but should be good enough for something like this, at least for now. You can see it right through there. PCB is just tape. There's like one layer. There's a little overlap on some parts. I'd say that it's at most 1.5 layers of this tape. And yeah, this was kind of my first venture into taping. So this was kind of new to me, and you know, if I'm being honest, I think it worked out relatively well. I don't think it's going to work on every single board. I kind of want to do it on this board, but I'm going to try it without it first, just to kind of see what it's like. But this board could benefit from tape as well. I think that definitely some boards will benefit from tape, and some probably won't. And some you probably shouldn't or wouldn't want to tape. I don't think it's like a universal mod that's just always going to be good. But it's cool that people are trying new things, and I do think it could go fairly well here. So anyways, back to this keyboard. So we got it all soldered up here. Again, polycarbonate plate for all you people just joining recently. Got the WT60D PCB. This is a 2019 version. Not that that really matters. But it has the USB-C, it has the flex cuts, the QMK via support, good layout support without going over the top, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. Love these PCBs. Can't get enough of them, man. I have these in so many boards now. They're just so freaking good. And then here's the case, which we showed off a little bit earlier, but we'll do it again, just because this one's a little different than a lot of other keyboards you might be used to. So it is sort of a bottom mount affair. With 4 screws. So you actually have 6 screws for the case, that connects the top and the bottom. Then you have 4 screws for the plate assembly, 1 in each corner. And it kind of mounts on this little ledge here, but it has this carbon fiber spacer that sort of acts as like, I don't want to call it like a dampener or a gasket, but it acts as like an augmentation to the both the feel and the sound just by kind of being there. And that's yeah, I don't really know what more to say about that. But yeah, then there's this this kind of top here. It even says top right there, which I think just means that this goes up here. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty good stuff. And there's little notches right here that holds it in place. So very cool stuff there. This particular one is the 022 unit. So serialized. I love that, man. I can never get enough of serialized keyboards. I'm not gonna lie, guys. That shit really gets me going. It really does. So very cool stuff there. A little internal badge there, which also translates to the kind of weight on the other side as well, which is a little dirty. I'm not making Leandrin proud with how dirty this weight is. I'm sorry. I cleaned that up a little bit better lately, or later rather. But yeah, this little kind of understated weight where it's just this like kind of accent mountain. Like, it doesn't take up a huge portion of the board. It probably overall doesn't add an insane amount of weight to the board either. Although it is a relatively hefty board. It's definitely not like a super light board in any stretch of the imagination. Relatively thick aluminum. But yeah, I like that. Nice kind of simple weight. Obviously with my fingerprint right in the center there. Good stuff. I love it. It's really, really cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and start putting this together. Carbon fiber spacer right there in the corners. And the plate, this is a really, really kind of like simple, seamless build too. It's pretty easy to put together, which I appreciate. When I say seamless, I don't mean like seamless as in there's no seam. I just mean the board's, you know, relatively easy to work with. And then I have all my mounting hardware here. There's a few different screws here. So we have 4 for the plate. Sean's asking, Brian, you mind if I get your opinion on a trade? Sure. I can't guarantee I'll have the best opinion about it, but let me know. What's up? These are screws that I can't sacrifice to the carpet gods. Not today. I only have the 4 of them. Does clear polycarb sound different from frosted? That's a phenomenal question I don't have the answer to. That's something I've never even thought of before. I would imagine no, but I do not have the science or experience to back that up. I'm thinking of... Wait. The trade I'm thinking of doing is my Unicorn round 2.1 for a Kepler 65. So the FC 65 with the... what is it? Like that kind of like carbon composite top or whatever. Because I think that's... If I'm being totally honest, I would much rather have the FC65 than a Unicorn. Not that the Unicorn isn't good. I mean, the Unicorn's obviously a cool board. You know, it almost popularized that kind of simple... What are people calling it? The gummy worm mount, that kind of O-ring gasket around the PCB plate assembly that just kind of rests in to the case. I think that was kind of like the first like nicer board that really did it that way. And I think because of that, you know, it had a lot of popularity, right? It wasn't a super expensive board. It was fairly affordable, but it still had those big names attached to it. TGR, Singa, you know, a very hype project. I think the board came out really well as well. I have used one for a little bit, so I'm fairly familiar with it. I think it's a cool board, but if I'm being totally honest, I think the FC65 is just like more interesting, right? I think the gasket mounting is more intricate. It's probably just better depending on how you're looking at it as well. It also costed a lot more in group buy, right? Like, I think the FC65 was like several $100s more than the Unicorn. The Unicorn, I feel like it has a lot of value because it has the TGR and Singa names attached to them. It's not necessarily that the board is like that monumentally amazing. It's just the sense of like, because of the brand and you know, kind of when it launched, how it launched. It was kind of a very hype thing. So I would say, like, if you're comparing apples to apples, the FC65 is like a, you know, a much more expensive and much more interesting and intricate keyboard, whereas the Unicorn is a little bit more predictable, I guess, and at least to me, less interesting as a keyboard. So if I were doing that trade, I would absolutely trade for the FC65, even though I prefer 60s. I think the 65 is just a way more interesting board, because, I mean, how often do you see that kind of carbon composite top? That's just too cool, man. Too cool. And plus, I think the mounting system is pretty nice as well. Anyways, let's go ahead and get the rest of these screws on here. And we can get this thing wrapped up. Put some keycaps on. Seems like this Unicorn's fate is sealed. I mean, Unicorn's, it's a hype board, right? But hype doesn't necessarily translate to, like, interesting. And it doesn't always translate to, like, you know, incredible either. Okay, so we got 6 screws on this case. There's shorter screws for the front, longer screws for the back. I think I need a different size if I recall. Probably help if these were together. Alright. Is this a group buy item or in stock? This was a group buy item. It is not in stock. This keyboard really flew under the radar as far as I'm concerned. I don't really see, like, anyone ever talking about them or building them. I don't really see any pictures of them, which to me makes it really cool, because I kind of dig boards that are a little bit rarer, a little bit less popular. That's kind of just something I've always been into. You could probably find them on the aftermarket, honestly, for, like, probably not even much, if any, of a markup. I just think it's a pretty neat board. I looked up Mechanisk and there was a Fiel group buy, but how do you think about the quality of Mechanisk keyboards? Let me preface this by saying you could probably see the Mechanisk logo right there in the top right. I am sponsored by Mechanisk. With that in mind, just like all of our sponsors, I have an agreement with them that I do not lie about their products. I do not shill stuff that I don't think is good or that I don't like. That's just kind of how this goes. I try to be as honest and transparent and unbiased and open-minded as I possibly can with everything I do in life. Not even just the keyboard hobby, so... but I do like to make it aware that I am sponsored by Mechanisk, so just in case anyone takes that, like, the wrong way, that's totally up to them, I suppose. I think, for the most part, Mechanisk keyboards tend to be, like, pretty high quality. Like, maybe not, like, the absolute best in the community, but, like, pretty high up there. Especially, like, more lately, because, like, he's been doing so many more keyboards lately, and they have been turning out pretty well. But I mean, Mechanisk has been around for quite a few years now, and they've definitely sold and shipped, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands and thousands and thousands of keyboards at this point. And I've never really heard anyone talk poorly about the quality. I think there can be, like, some color inconsistencies, like, between rounds and batches and stuff, even if you're getting the same color, but that's, like, actually pretty common, like, for everyone. That's not just, like, a Mechanisk thing. Like, for example, I have a Mechanisk Tinned and I have a Mechanisk Klippe-T, both in the Ultramarine colorway, and the Klippe Ultramarine is, like, noticeably darker than the Tinned Ultramarine. Which doesn't really bother me, but that could bother other people. Okay, do I have all these screws in? Yes, I do. Alright. Alright, well, now it's time for some keycaps, and then some typing. Do I do a poll? I don't know if I want to do a poll. I think I kind of just want to use Modern Dolce Light, to be honest with you. It just came in. I was using it to kind of test earlier as well, so like I already have some keycaps here. And it's, you know, since it just shipped, it's kind of a hype set, I suppose. I waited a little while for this set. Love the black logo. Yes. I asked because now I'm looking for other aluminum 60 to 65% that are better than the Tofus within the $300 price range. I just built a Tofu 65 and I'm not wowed. Yeah, I was never super impressed with the Tofu line, if I'm being honest. I think the 60% Tofu in acrylic was actually a pretty good value because you could get that for like $70-ish when it first launched, and it actually sounded pretty good. It was like this frosted acrylic look, a little inconsistent on the frosting, but it was still pretty good. As far as like the aluminum Tofus are concerned, I'll never buy another one. I owned one of them. I owned one of the 60% a while back, and it just I appreciated it for the price, but I think especially nowadays there are just better things for the price than tray mount Tofus. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for 60s to 65s that are $300 or less, there are definitely several of them now, right? You can wait for stuff like the Bakaneko to be restocked on Canon keys. That's like $130 and comes with lots of stuff. It's an O-ring gasket tray mount. I have one. We put together one on stream several streams back, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and came out surprisingly well for $130. There's stuff like the KBD 6.7 Lite, which will probably get restocked. The KBD 6.7, like normal version, the MK2, which is aluminum, is another good option as well. Those are over on KBD fans. Those kind of come and go. What else is there? There's the RamaWorks Kara. This is about $160 for one of these kits, minus you know, stuff like switches and keycaps. What else is there? There's the NK65 over on Novel Keys. I would argue that's definitely better than a Tofu as well. There's both aluminum versions and there's entry editions, which are injection molded polycarbonate. Those are sub $100, but those go pretty quick. None of the entries in stock on Novel Keys right now. God, help me out, chat. What else is there? What's better than a Tofu that's under $300? Because there's quite a few things that I just listed off, and I know there's more. It's a good time to be a keyboard enthusiast right now, I think, in terms of like, you know, what's out there, like what you can get for your money. Because it used to be you had to pay like, you know, $400+ for like a really nice quality keyboard. But nowadays there's so many options that like might not be like super ultra nice, but are like still pretty nice, especially given the price points. Spump says, I want to get a Tofu just to be able to mod it. Yeah, totally fine. I mean, it's relatively inexpensive, right? There's a lot you can still do with it. Yeah, and like Yin in chat is saying you can do stuff like the tape mod, or you can do like put O-rings, like the burger mount O-rings on the mounting points. There are like there's more and more like cheap mods, like cheap, inexpensive, accessible mods that are easy to do, like always coming out. Particularly the newest one being like the tape mod that a lot of people like to do. That really kind of can clean up a lot of the sound on your keyboard. Sound obviously being much more important in the hobby these days than it used to be. Often people care a lot more about sound than the actual feel of their keyboard, which didn't used to be the case when I was a bit newer to the hobby. So it's kind of been interesting to see that that shift. KBD 6.7 Lite, yep, it's a good one. D60, D65, yeah, those are both really cheap, all things considered. There's an ongoing urge inside of you, the one that wants to buy a Bakaneko. Hey, it's worth it, man. I would say at the launch price of 130 bucks. I mean, plus shipping, obviously, and taxes or whatever. But like overall, I think the Bakeneko is awesome. I think it's really good value. I mean, it's certainly not like the best board ever. It's not like super groundbreaking. But you know, the whole idea is to get you like a pretty decent quality board that will feel good and sound good and not cost very much. And I think the Bakeneko, in that sense, definitely accomplishes that. There are like minor issues, but it's like a lot of stuff that you're totally willing to put up with, considering the board only costs $130. Does this set have Bard? Okay, it does have Bard homing keys. Cool. We'll use the Bard homing keys. I used to be a Scoops kind of guy. Now I'm a Bard kind of guy. Oops, that's not where that goes. That's not where any of that goes. What am I doing here? I just whacked my monitor. I have $6 and a half-eaten Crunch Bar. All right, that still might get you something these days. What caps are these? This is GMK Modern Dolce Light, aka Moto Light. This is the GMK set that ran. When did this run? I mean, it's. I'm sure it's been more than a year now, right? Surely. There's a decent amount of flex in this board. Okay, that's more than I was expecting. Totally fine with that. Is the stream lagging out for you guys? Mine lagged out for a bit there. I think the stream's fine. I don't have any dropped frames, so hopefully it's not on my end. Oh, it was stuttering for Camel as well. Maybe it was a Twitch thing. Everything still shows fine on my end. I mean, I guess I have dropped a couple frames, but like very, very few. When in doubt, just blame Twitch. Flex is good. Yeah, this is a pretty flexy keyboard, all things considered. We'll set like we'll try accents versus no accents as well. I don't need any more of these, right? Adding the D60, D65, and Bauer Light to your watch list. The Bauer Light, definitely something I'm looking forward to as well. The Iki 68, also a very popular kind of entry-level, inexpensive board. that I've heard a lot of great things about. I haven't used one yet, but I've heard a lot of great things. I'll hopefully have it on the way in the near future. Now, here's the question. If I were to get a Bakaneko, Clack or Thok? I'm gonna go against the grain here. I'm gonna say Clack, because I think most people like Thokier sounds, which are great. But variety is the spice of life, you know? Verise, hello, asking, is it soldered? Sorry if stupid questions. We don't do stupid questions here. They don't exist. It's a great question, right? If you don't know something and you ask a question, I think it's a good question. This is soldered, yes. This is not a hot swap build. This is soldered. Wait, did this board come with multiple accents? Or this key set? I thought there was only one accent. Alright. I'm gonna use this chance to just put these in a bag that I have right next to me. Because I don't like to use these trays. I just don't like them. I respect that they're recyclable. Other than that, I don't like them. Jeff Leopard says, hot take, Topra, the only true Thok. That's a pretty hot take. I'd say that's a really hot take. Though, you know, I do remember the days where, like, that was, like, that's why you use Thok, right? Like, Thok didn't used to refer to MX keyboards. It just didn't. Topra was known as, like, the Thok. That's what Thokiness was Topra. Alright. The feeling of oneness with cup rubber. A man after my own heart. I love me some Topra. How did you get the full nylon yellows? I bought them. I bought these ones from Cannon Keys, I'm pretty sure, but I think several vendors stock them. What do you think? Should we run accents or no accents? I'm kind of colorblind, so I think these are actually accents that I put on, but that was an accident. I think these are the regular ones. So we have a couple accent options. Go even lighter. They're kind of cool. I kind of like it without the accents because I'm kind of a boring guy with aesthetics, I suppose. This is a nice keyboard. That is a lovely keyboard. Thank you so much. Ariston, first time chatter, hello, says that is quite a lovely board. Thank you. Yeah, Modern Dolch Light. I mean, it's kind of hard to mess up, right? You have a nice neutral key set that just looks very clean, even an oversaturated light apparently, and an E-white board with a bit of kind of like a stainless steel kind of weight situation. I think this is a steel weight. I could be wrong though, but it's like this kind of silver shiny weight. That's good stuff. A little side profile for you. It is very clean. Purple and green? Is that what they are? I mean, I'm kind of colorblind. These are purple and green. I'm so bad with colors, guys. So bad with colors. My favorite part of MX-style keybs is the building process. I only see pre-built Topra keybs on a quick search. Yeah, custom Topra is like not really a thing in like the truest sense. There is a lot of like aftermarket Topra cases that are custom. There are a few of them at least. But you generally still have to harvest a bunch of parts from other Topra boards to like finish assembly of them. So it's like, it's not as custom in the same sense as like custom MX, but like there are some custom options. I'm not sure if you're joking about the colorblind thing. I am not joking about the colorblind thing. I am actually somewhat colorblind. What's funny is like, I can tell these are different. I can tell these are different from each other. And on stream, it's actually way more noticeable to me than it is on person. Like, looking in the preview, I noticed the difference in these a lot more than I notice it, like, with my eyes, which is probably a bad thing, but, yeah. It is what it is, alright? My eyes are not the greatest, and I've made my peace with that. You love the Mental Health Monday thing? Thank you so much. I'm glad. I'm glad it helps anyone. Even if, like, only one or two people are like, cool, I like the chill mental health vibe. And, like, they feel like... If someone feels safe and welcome here, I think that's, like, the best outcome I could possibly have here. The gray and spell. Yeah, I know these are the gray. These must be the green and these must be the purple, I guess, if I had to guess. I have two Norba Forces that feel very different. I got a Norba Force behind me. That one needs some work though. I need to swap out the internals of that. I also have a Real Force Round 2 back there, as well as an HHKB right next to it that has a bunch of mods done to it. So I'm no stranger to the Topra, and I'm all about that. Love your wrist rest. Isn't it amazing? Shout out to Chi. You'll love to see it. All right. So what do you think, guys? Do we keep the neutral look on, or do we put some accents on? What do you guys think? You guys into accents? You guys like these? Like this stuff? I mean, I feel like since the set is kind of neutral and the case is E-white, you can definitely play around with accents, but I think the classic look is still definitely not a mistake. Honestly, Top Clack has always been open and accepting. It's a great place. Thank you so much. That's awesome. That's all we're really hoping for, right? I mean, I think there could be a lot of other goals as well, but if Top Clack is the kind of place where people can come in and be like, I feel welcomed here. I feel like this is an open space that's safe. I can be myself. Because, you know, a lot of people in the world have it rough. It's not just me, you know. A lot of people have it way worse than me. And I feel, now that I've experienced a lot of mental issues, whereas, you know, in the past I hadn't really associated myself with that. But now, like, things make a lot more sense to me. And so, like, I get it now. I can, like, I can finally, like, relate, whereas I couldn't really before. So I think it's really nice to have that kind of space, and I feel like you know, a lot of the Top Clack viewership and a lot of like just the people in general in the hobby have really been very kind to me personally, and you know I've been very fortunate to, you know, have so many, you know, welcomings throughout the community and so many positive mentions and comments and stuff. So I've been very lucky. I actually don't have a schedule command, Ian. Sorry about that. This show, this particular series happens every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. This is Mental Health Mondays. I'm trying to make it a regular thing. I've been going well. We've been doing this for a couple months now. Things have been going well. Most Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific, we have our regular show where I have a co-host, Jay. He's British, but we love him. So really great guy. We love Jay. He comes on with me, and we usually either discuss something keyboard related, or sometimes we play a game and that's keyboard related. Sometimes we do other things. It's very much a free form podcast kind of feel, but we try to have a good time either way. Accents for a little color. Ooh, the turquoise. I prefer the gray. Neutral is best, says Pizza Cats. Okay. Like red escape only. I'm not usually an accent kind of guy. I usually just straight up don't use accents. But I think the accents could work either way here. I think any of these are pretty good. These are all pretty clean accents that I think work relatively well. I'm kind of into these ones actually. I kind of like these. Let's go with this. I won't necessarily argue that neutral could be the best here, but we'll spice it up a little bit just because, I don't often break out of the norm for myself, and that's something I kind of want to do more of. So we'll put these on, then we'll do a quick typing test, guys. I know several of you have probably been waiting for that, and I apologize for my slowness when it comes to building keyboards today. All right. Finish off my coffee that I've been sipping on for a couple hours now. Mental health is so important, and mental health representation is really huge for so many people. It really is. Preach. I've always tried to be open with mine to help others feel welcome. Yeah, and that's something I'm really trying to work on as well. You're right though, the representation is huge because there's such a stigma around it, right? No one wants to actually talk about it because in today's society, and it's a little bit more accepting these days compared to I guess the older days, but it's a lot of people are just afraid to talk about it because if you have any kind of mental issue, you're just seen as weak, right? You're seen as not good enough as like normal humans. When the reality is a lot of people suffer from varying degrees of mental health issues and either A, never know about it like me. I dealt with it for years and I never even knew what it was until it got so severe that it manifested into much more heavily like physical symptoms. So it took a while to realize that I had some issues going on. And I think a lot of other people either don't realize they have it going on, or even if they have issues, they're too afraid to talk about it, which is unfortunate at the very least. So it's good to talk about, and I try to be as honest and open, as transparent as I can. I try to answer any questions that I can. It's something I don't want to shy away from, and I don't think anyone else should either. But I know it can be a difficult topic for a lot of people, so welcome. Here we can talk about it. You don't have to be afraid. I'm just like you guys. All right, let's check out the sound of this board, shall we? I just put my headphones back on and now I'm taking them back off. Thank you for being a voice of representation within the community. You are so welcome. I really appreciate that. I actually have a bit of, if anyone's interested and wants to know a little bit, just like a little bit more about kind of like my backstory, I wrote up an article on topclack.com. I'll link it actually. That you can kind of look at it from like my perspective. And this was quite a few months ago. This was actually, I guess, a year ago, as of July. So, but this was my turning point in the hobby, basically. So if anyone's curious to kind of read through that, it's not particularly long, but it does kind of give some context to what happened with me and kind of like what's going on now. Where I kind of open up a little bit. Anyways, yes, I know a lot of you are ready for the sound test. I'm so sorry it's been delayed, guys. Let's listen to this. So again, this is the Klippe-S with a polycarbonate plate. It still has the carbon fiber spacer in there. We have a WT60D PCB, also from Mechanisk, and we have some lubed Gateron KS3s in here. These are the full nylon versions, guys, so this isn't like the normal Gateron plastic composition. These are the full nylon ones. Full nylon switches obviously gaining a lot of traction in the community because they tend to sound a lot better. You know, we should have known that because I'm pretty sure the classic cherry housings are also full nylon, and people love the sounds of those. So glad we're seeing nylon switches kind of make a really big comeback in a strong way, because I do think they tend to just be better, all things considered. So yeah, Gateron KS3s. These are yellows, stock yellow spring, but we have lubed them. Carbon GS2 lube on the switches, GPL 105 oil on the springs, and we're typing on GMK Modern Dolch Light today. My hands are kind of sweaty. It's really warm in here. It sounds fine. I feel like this particular board doesn't have the best sound to begin with. I didn't really care for the sound as much with my previous build in here either. This is definitely a step forward, but it's still a little okay. I don't know. It hasn't crossed that threshold to like really, really nice sounding. Which is why this is something I was actually thinking about earlier, and I didn't mention it on stream, but I think we're going to give the tape a try here. I'm still not a full believer yet in the tape, but I do think that some tape might benefit this. What do you think, guys? Type 1 in chat if you want me to tape this PCB real quick and listen again. Because I'm kind of curious. It had such a difference. It had such a difference in tone with the Kara that I'm really interested to see if it'll actually have any kind of effect here in this kind of, like, I don't know, slightly mid-tier kind of board. Sounds a bit empty. It does sound a little empty, yeah. I like the board a lot. This feels really good, too. I believe in the tape. 111. Okay, all right. We'll. This won't take long. The tape mod is incredibly quick, all things considered. So we'll just open this bad boy up. We'll tape the PCB real quick, and then we'll close it back up, and we'll type on it again. Is it gaffers or electrical? It's gaffers. Or masking or painters, or I actually don't know all the different monikers that they kind of go through, but it's like a paper tape basically. So definitely not electrical, definitely more like gaffers. All right. All right, we're gonna tape this bad boy up. It won't take long, guys. Won't take long. Let me put the music back on though, because these tunes be banging. I wouldn't use KS3s for sound IMO. This is my first time using the KS3s. So I wasn't really sure what to expect. I never personally thought that most Gateron switches sounded particularly good. At least like towards like the base level of their lineup. I think that things like the newer like Ink switches, the Ink series, which I know has been out for a little while now. I think those sound pretty good. Definitely a step up. Though obviously they're much more expensive also. I'm also interested in a lot of their newer stuff. Right, they got the kangaroos out, which seem kind of interesting. They also have the silver blizzards, so it looks like they're kind of branching into the tactile world in a pretty interesting and fun way, which I like seeing. Gateron have been doing a pretty good job lately. They're not letting JWK just come in and steal everything, right? Decent amount of flex. KS3s typically labeled differently than other Gateron Yellows? Maybe? I don't know. I got these ones from Cannon Keys. They have like the opaque black housings. And they make a note of them being full nylon. Because otherwise it's like I think it's like more like a nylon polycarbonate blend, potentially with other things as well. Kangaroos are very tactile. Yeah, they seem pretty cool too. That's definitely one of the switches on my list of things to try. All right, let us commence taping. And again, just like last time, I haven't gotten any like new tape, so I don't have like the wider stuff, which I'd probably prefer to use. This is a little bit thinner, so it's going to take a few extra layers, not necessarily layers, but just rows. Do have scissors in here. Nice. What type of mount is this? I guess you'd call it like bottom mount. To me, it's like, no. I guess you kind of have to call it bottom mount, to be honest. Come on, tape, work with me here. Sorry if my big fat head's in the way. I gotta see like a top-down view of what I'm doing. I wonder if we should do one layer on here, like we did with the Kara, or should we do like 2 layers and see if that makes like a big difference. I've only tried it with 1 layer so far, and it did make a noticeable difference, so kind of curious if multiple layers would have a similar effect. Any group buy or interest check lately that you've been interested in? Gosh, probably. I'm so bad at thinking about this stuff off the top of my head, though. I'm trying to think of like what's like currently running and what's like coming out. I'm still waiting on the Frog Mini. I definitely want to get in on that, but I think that's January 2022. As well as the other, upcoming Geonworks board, the F2 8X, I think is what it's called. Definitely looking forward on that. I still haven't used a Geonworks board, and I'm really looking forward to it. There's a Matrix board running right now that I was kind of interested in. The what is it? The ME, I think it's called. What do you think? Is that good enough, guys? Should I do another strip up here? I don't know if the top row is going to need it as much as like the rest. Pilot Wings takes me back. That's a throwback, man. Some good tunes on this playlist, though. The Kara with 2 layers made a large difference for me, personally. 3 layers was diminishing returns. Fair enough. Yeah, I know some people that seem to preach about 1 layer, some people like 2, some people like 3, some people have even done 4, I guess. Seems a little excessive to me, but... So many options on that Matrix board. Yeah, the colors look really nice. The price for the, like, normal version... Like the SE or whatever, like the special version is, that's like 4 something. It seems pretty well priced as well, but like the normal version, that's like $285 USD. I think is it seems like a pretty good value. If I could afford keyboards this month, I would probably buy one of those. But alas, I'm moving soon and I need money for real life stuff. Big sad. All right, should we add another layer right now? Should we just do 2 right off the bat and see, or should we just stick with this? I'm thinking I want to just ball out here and use another layer, which I think is what I'm gonna do. We'll do 2. We're not gonna do 3, but we did 1 on the Kara. Let's just try 2 here. Let's try to go for like a nice, like really poppy sound. 2 might actually be a mistake here, to be honest with you. 1 might be better, but for the sake of this, we're gonna give it a try anyways. Sometimes you gotta try. Am I right? It also seems like a lot quicker to put on a second layer. I like how in the last like several episodes of a Top Facts stream, I'm like, I'm still not so sure about tape. I think it can be like good or bad depending, and then here I am taping my second board. I definitely think the tape mod is cool, and it is beneficial on some keyboards. I definitely don't want to seem like I'm hating on it, because that's not the case. I think it's very beneficial, and at least in my experiences so far, I definitely prefer it to stuff like foam. Alright, so we got 2 layers on there. That's 2 layers, player. Let's see what happens, shall we? We are feeling spicy today, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I either wound up taking this tape off, or like taking it off and just doing 1 layer, since it's probably hard to take off just 1 layer here. I think this board also, like, technically shipped with foam, and I might have it in, like, a case behind me. I can't remember if this board shipped with foam or not, but we're gonna try tape instead. Alright, I'm gonna quickly put this back together, and we're gonna type on it again. And then we'll probably find someone to raid. So if you see any good raiding targets before we head out in a little bit, let me know. Definitely want to share the love, pass on the love, make sure we're always raiding someone. Preferably with a lower viewer count, because it's always nice to kind of boost people up. We have a lot of great streamers in this community, and not all of them get the numbers that they deserve. So try to keep that in mind as well. Rorson, hello, hello. How you doing today? I always love finding someone that's building their first board. Yes, yes, totally. Alright, so here's the question. Is the tape going to make a big difference on the Klippe-S? Or not? Are there any acoustic differences between top and bottom mount? Yes. Yeah, generally speaking, yes. Generally speaking, every mounting style is going to affect both feel and acoustics. It's just a matter of how much and in what way. But yeah, I would generally say that top mount is often preferred, because it gives the kind of plate PCB assembly more room to kind of do what it wants versus something like bottom mount. Or sandwich mount, even, which is like a lot more restrictive. Even a lot of gasket mounts tend to be a lot more restrictive, but with gasket mount you tend to go for like a specific kind of like no reverberation kind of feel and sound. I'm putting my switches keys back on after cleaning. Spilled coffee on my keyboard. Oh, that's a bummer. There's a hot swappable Keychron 6. There are way worse keyboards to spill coffee on, don't worry. So, at least you got that going for you. That's a bummer, though. But hey, gives you an excuse to take apart a keyboard and poke around the internals and do some cleaning and get some knowledge and experience under your belt. Silver linings, my friends. I feel strongly that it will not. You don't think this is going to, the tape is going to change anything here, huh? Why am I putting my headphones back on when I'm about to type? I was like, I'm going to pause the music. And by pause the music, I mean put my headphones back on to listen to cool music. Alright, guys. So, we tried it without the tape. It sounded alright, but a little plain. Let's try it again with the tape. We got 2 layers here. Okay, I'll say that once again. This is a pretty noticeable difference. It does sound a little thockier, a little deeper, as tape seems to do. not totally unlike foam, but a little less airy than foam. I think it doesn't remove as many characteristics as foam. But yeah, let's give this a little test, guys. Typing test, take 2. 2 layers of foam now. I always have to take off my watch. This kind of affects things when my wrist rest. I mean, the sound is a lot different. I will give you that. Rizzo in chat says, sounds like my tape mod. Yeah, see, that's that's kind of the problem with stuff like tape mod and foam, right? It starts to matter a lot less what board you're typing on and more so like what modifications are done, which is kind of a give and take. So I think this sounds better because I think naturally this particular board doesn't sound too amazing. I mean, no offense to Leandrin and Mechanist, because I love Leandrin and I love Mechanist and I love their products. And I do like this board a lot, but I think naturally it doesn't sound that great. So I think this maybe is just a better target for stuff like foam and the tape mod. So we use 2 layers of tape here. 1 probably would have still made a difference. 2 seems to make a pretty monumental difference. This is like a lot more poppy and a bit more precise and focused as well. But again, it starts to sound a little bit like all the other tape modded boards. So it's a give and take. Does this board benefit from it? Yeah, probably. I guess I'm a believer in tape mod. I don't know. I feel like I keep fighting it. I keep going like, tape mod bad. Don't do it. Ruins soul of keyboards. And then now I'm like, tape made the board better. I feel so like torn about it. I don't know, guys. I don't know. The reality is, I think that tape really, some boards really benefit from it. But overall, not too bad. As usual, I'll use this board for a week, and I'll have some more finalized thoughts on the whole configuration for next week's episode. Which I'm not entirely sure what we're doing next week, but I'll figure it out beforehand. Sean DePaulze says, in my opinion, foam also makes a lot of boards sound better, but that leads to the same problem. Exactly, right? It neutralizes the playing field of sound. It's just the way it is, right? Boards that are like fully foamed or like fully taped are going to sound much more like each other versus like the board they actually are, which is Like we talked about on Friday's episode of Top Clack, you know, in my opinion, that's not necessarily a good thing, right? Because then why would people design around specific sounds or like, you know, specific outcomes for their keyboard, you know, put all these resources and time and even money, right? You know, to do a lot of the acoustic changes to make keyboards sound good naturally. It does take more machine time, which in turn, you know, costs more money. You know, if people are just going to foam and tape all their boards, you know, why would designers even want to do something like this? So I think there's a lot behind it that a lot of people don't necessarily think about. I don't think it's always as simple as being like tape make keyboard better or like foam make keyboard better. I don't think it's quite that easy. I think there's a lot more to think about, but you know, in the short term sense, I think tape made this keyboard a little bit better. I think tape made my RamaWorks Kara a little bit better, which I'll give you a little sound test of that too, because I'm relatively happy with the way the sound came out, although it does sound, you know, very similar to other taped boards. This one has tactile switches though, and it's a plastic case, so it's going to sound a little different. Also, just one layer of tape on this, as well as DCS profile versus GMK. I have been liking DCS a lot more with the tape mod, I think, than GMK, so it'd be kind of interesting to try DCS on this as well at some point. But yeah, listen to this one. Yeah, so obviously my first two taped boards here. This one has one layer, this one has two. It's the same tape. But this one also has the mute mount, right? The Kara has the mute mount, which is that like kind of silicone dampener that goes between the PCB and plate. This doesn't have anything like that. It doesn't have foam anywhere either. This is just two layers of tape. So yeah. Another first-time chatter, Reverbiate, is asking which feels better, the Kara or the Klippe? Which feels better, huh? I think in terms of like pure feel, this is a tough comparison, right? Because like we're not really comparing apples to apples here. We're comparing apples to oranges. You know, this is an injection molded polycarbonate case. This is a CNC'd aluminum case. You know, this has the silicone mute mat between the PCB and plate. This has nothing between the PCB and plate. You know, this has a very particular kind of snap-in mounting system. This is kind of bottom mount with a carbon fiber spacer. This has, you know, tactile switches that are like a T1 variant. This has linear switches. I use different lube for each of them, and we're using different keycap profiles. So, like, almost everything is different about these two keyboards, so I don't really want to compare them, just because it's not really a fair comparison. As far as which feels better, I don't think I'd really choose one. I think they're so different from each other that, like, you can appreciate both for what they are. And I think that kind of embodies my outlook on the hobby in general. Let me turn the music back on while I rant before I go. That kind of just embodies like my view of the hobby. Like, it's just so much preference and so much variety that like you don't really need to pick like one or two, right? Like, it's not necessarily always about what's better than other things. It's often about like what's new to you, what's interesting, what's different, what can you get experience on, like better your journey, not just like everyone's on this constant search for endgame, which I think is like not the best way to go about the hobby. There's a lot of cool things in the hobby, and I think it's nice to kind of experience as many things as you can, even if they're things that people don't necessarily think are like the greatest of all time or like the hypest of all time or this and that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really play that game like most other people do. I just don't. I think both have a lot of merit, and I wouldn't necessarily choose one over the other. Variety is the spice of life. Yep, camel leopard. I mean, it's a common saying, but it really is true, and I think it's more true in keyboards than a lot of other things too. I mean, that's how you get knowledge and experience in the hobby, right? You try new things, you experience them, and you experiment. You know, there's a lot of science to be had behind it too. So before we head out and we raid someone, which will be momentarily, I can answer any questions if you guys have about this particular keyboard or last week's keyboard, any of the keyboards. I'll try to answer any questions I can before we head out, while I look for someone to raid as well. If you guys have any good raid targets, let me know. I'm going to take a brief look on Twitch to see who's live. Yin Keeb's asking, when do I typically stream? So this is a weekly stream every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific. I do this stream every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific. Most Fridays, sometimes it's hit or miss, unfortunately. That's just life. Can't always coordinate. But most Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific, we also do some discussion streams, me, and I'm usually accompanied by my co-host, Jay. Really great, awesome keyboard enthusiast that has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. He runs the company Klippe-S, which has been seeing a ton of success lately and is just growing and growing. So Jay's been doing a lot of great work lately, and he has a lot of good input on stuff too. So that's more of like a discussion talk stream, whereas this is kind of like a build stream, and we kind of touch on mental health aspects as well. I do plan on bringing back another weekly stream, so I'm going to try to get up to 3 weekly streams at a minimum. I'm going to be restarting Behind the Keyboard very soon, which is something that in the past has gone over really well. It's basically like a series that I host where we bring on guests and we kind of dig a little bit into their lives, and we talk about what got them into keyboards, a lot of the projects that they've been working on, and it's basically an interview stream, but I try to approach it in a very kind of out there sort of way. To make it a little bit more interesting. So I do plan to bring that back. We've had some phenomenal guests in the past, including Teja Types, super hype, biggest streamer we have in the community. People like Tiny, OG, another amazing streamer that has a lot of great input. We've had Andy from GMK. That was a fantastic episode as well. We've had a couple key set designers. We talked about design. We've had some great episodes in the past, and that's something I want to bring back because a lot of people had a lot of amazing things to say about that series. So I kind of had to stop it when I was going through some mental issues. I just felt like I couldn't really be the host that I needed to be. But now I feel a lot more stable, all things considered, so I kind of want to bring back that series, and we can have a 3rd stream per week where it's just like a keyboard interview stream. It would be pretty awesome. I want to try to make Twitch partner in the nearish future. We have tried in the past and we failed, so I definitely want to try again, but it's gonna be a road. It's gonna be a road because obviously we don't get the viewership that we used to get, based on a lot of the reasons that I explained earlier in the stream when the topic got brought up. But yeah, I want to try to make the path to partner. A lot of Twitch keyboard streamers these days are making it to partner, but we're still a little ways off in terms of viewership. So hopefully I can keep doing more content, better content, and the viewership will rise. Hopefully. That's the hope, but I don't want to stress myself out too much. If the viewership doesn't come, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I do this because I like to, and I'd love to make partner, but if it doesn't happen, then it is what it is. So but that's kind of like my next like major milestone, at least as a streamer, is I want to finally make partner. Top Clack has been streaming for 5 years now. 5-year event coming up soon, by the way. I'm going to do something for that, I promise. There will be some great giveaways. So, stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, we've been streaming for almost about 5 years now, right? 2016. It was like August or September of 2016. So, we've had a long journey, and we still haven't made partner. We've tried once, back when our viewership was like mostly at its peak, and we were kind of just short of the requirements according to Twitch. We weren't quite as consistent in terms of viewership numbers because our build streams got less than our normal weekly streams, and because of that, we were denied partnership. That was a couple years back, I think. I haven't tried again since, so definitely path to partner. Trying to raise that viewership a little bit. If we can get, like, if these particular streams could get closer to like 100 viewers instead of like 50, it would be like a monumental difference, and that would be pretty much enough to get partner. So that's kind of my goal. So we'll see where that goes. So yeah, I'm going to try to get in a third keyboard stream a week with Behind the Keyboard, bringing that back. That should be pretty good. I don't have like a time or date on that yet, but you know, join the Discord link below. That's usually where you can learn about things first. Otherwise, we just try to talk about them on stream. So yeah, there is that. Gonna check the YouTube for more content. I appreciate that, man. The YouTube for a while now has honestly just been a VOD dump. So pretty much just the VODs get posted there. They also stay on Twitch for, you know, a little bit of time. But all these get kind of exported to YouTube at least 24 hours after because of Twitch's terms of service. So there's not like a ton of like, you know, particular YouTube content that we have, unfortunately. I know a lot of other YouTubers do like designated YouTube content, which is cool, but for us, it's mostly just a VOD dump right now. Mental health is hard. Appreciate your effort in coming back and streaming for us, even though it could be hard some days. Thanks, man. It definitely is hard some days, and you know there have been days in the past where it's just like I can't stream today. Like I'm just not like mentally here like enough. I'm not mentally prepared enough to stream, and it's difficult. But these days it's been a bit easier. The community's been very welcoming back. You know, we have a lot less viewership than we used to, but you know, the people that have stuck around are you know, as nice and as genuine as it gets, and you know, more people come in, you know, each time, and it's great to see. So hopefully we can grow the viewership a bit. We can make partner, and you know, that'll make me feel a lot better. Honestly, I think I'd love to hit partner. Keep Noob says, how does it feel being a pro streamer? I'm not top clack, not a pro streamer, unfortunately. But you know, we like what we do, and you know, if it doesn't always work out, then it doesn't always work out. But we have a good time doing it. So, Mixie says, keep at it, matey. Thank you for doing these mental health streams. I have enjoyed this stream a lot. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys that are showing up for the first time. Seen a few new people in here, so always love to see that. Hopefully you had a good time. Definitely make sure to tune in next Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific. Tune in Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific. Usually we'll have something going as well. Join the Discord link below. And let's see who's online. Who are we raiding here? Who has only a few viewers? We could raid Harsha. Harsha's building a thermal. I think we'll go with Harsha. I don't think we've ever raided Harsha, but Harsha has raided us once or twice, so we'll return the favor. So stick around for the raid, guys. Let's go say something nice to Harsha. Again, join the Discord link below. You can always ask me questions there. I try to be very active. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and raid Harsha. He's building a thermal, which I kind of wanted to catch part of this stream anyways, before it ends. So I'm definitely going to be going over there and watching this as well. Anyways, thank you guys so much, so much for joining me today. Another Mental Health Monday in the books. I think it was a success. I'll use this keyboard for a week, of course, and we'll gather our thoughts, and we'll give some better impressions at the start of next Monday's stream, where you can come back and hang out with me again, guys. Appreciate it very much, and get ready for this raid. Make sure you tune in for this raid. Let's go over and we'll say something nice. Spread the love, right? Mental Health Monday. We want to make sure, you know, we're spreading a little awareness and some positivity, some compassion, something the world needs more of now more than ever. And yeah, let's go see something nice. Say something wholesome. Compliment his hair. You know, he's always looking on point. You know, he's a very fashionable kind of guy. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and make sure to tune in Fridays and Mondays. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna roll an outro, and we're gonna do this raid.